We leave the Santee River anchorage on the Atlantic ICW headed north towards Georgetown, North Carolina. But on the way, due to engine issues, we get the opportunity to learn more about how to better operate our diesel engine.
Welcome back to Sailing Out of Sight. I'm Diane. This is Craig. And this is our pirate pup, Bonnie. Learning as we go, we invite you to follow along in our search for blue water.
Less than an hour into the day, I begin to get concerned about the engine's water flow. My realization this morning is I don't know with any certainty what the engine temperature is, nor do I know how much raw water flow we have. The exhaust outlet is near the water line, and it blows across the water's surface so that it's difficult to tell what is being splashed up and what is flowing through the engine cooling system.
A lot more water coming out. A lot more water than ever.
I don't trust the engine temperature gauge. It never falls to zero, and it never reads above 135 to 140 degrees. It's been that way since we bought the boat, and I should have changed it out a long time ago. The recommended operating temperature for our engine model is 174 to 194 degrees. So if the gauge is correct and the thermostat is working properly, we should have no water flow. But then I shoot the engine block with the infrared temperature gun, and it reads a little over 190 degrees. Something's up here. I knew this was an issue, yet I've never taken time to address it or educate myself on what is correct. But since we're now spending so many hours motoring the ICW, it's something I've had time to begin worrying about. It's just another piece of diesel knowledge that I have not yet taught myself.
Well, good morning. We were headed up to Georgetown. We are now anchored just off the ICW, and Craig is changing out our impeller.
So we just got started, and it seemed like we weren't running enough water. The engine wasn't. The cooling system didn't seem like it was blowing enough water. So we messed with it, couldn't get it to do any more water. So we threw anchor and checked the strainer. It's clear. Diane cleaned it out some more, pulled the impeller off, and you really can't, or we pulled the plate off the impeller to see what it looked like, and you really can't tell when it's in there. So since we had the plate off, we decided it's time to go ahead and change the impeller anyway. You may be asking, why would I worry if the engine isn't overheating? Can marine diesel run too cool? The answer is yes. Too cool is not good for the engine. You shouldn't be impressed when you hear someone say that they run at low RPMs because their engine likes it. Nor should we assume that low RPMs save fuel. The engine's power curve, along with the ship's condition, prop selection, sea state, and other factors affect speed and ultimately determine the efficiency for the given conditions. Our engine's power curve clearly shows how much lower the fuel consumption is at the higher RPMs, but it's really not very useful unless I know what speeds we're making at any given RPM. A simplified approach for fuel efficiency is 60 to 70% of hull speed. So if our hull speed is 8.24 knots, our theoretical best fuel efficiency is a speed of 5.5 to 6 knots. Here's the impeller right here. It's about halfway out, and getting it out is not easy.
I hope putting it back in's easier.
Well, last time I did it, it wasn't. There's the impeller almost out. I think I can get it by hand now, I hope. Unless an engine is running at its design temperature, low RPMs could cause unintended harm. Here's what we're learning, and it may be useful to the viewer one day. The most difficult time for a diesel engine is when the engine is cold or running at less than normal operating temperatures, which is typically 185 degrees or slightly higher
For a heat exchanger type system like ours, cold or too cool a temperature is the time when the engine is subject to incomplete combustion and excessive carbon buildup. At low speeds and light loading, cooler operating temperatures reduce the heat in the cylinders. Cylinder temperatures that are too cool result in unburned fuel, which mixes with air to form carbon or soot. This unburned fuel gets pushed out into the exhaust, where it can coat the backs of valves and the exhaust system, and it can start a downward spiraling cycle for the engine.
I like fixing boat motors.
Excessive carbon can build up inside the exhaust system to the point that it restricts the exhaust flow, creating excessive back pressure. It can foul intake and exhaust valves, preventing them from sealing properly. It can clog the tips of fuel injectors, plugging the fuel delivery or creating less than optimal spray patterns. Other problems can occur when the engine doesn't run with enough load. Lightly loaded engines may not heat enough to seal the piston rings, allowing unburned fuel past the rings and into the oil pan, where the diluted acidic mixture can lead to internal corrosion and loss of oil lubricity.
That impeller doesn't look bad. I mean, it's tore up where I had to gouge it out. But if you look down in there, it just doesn't look worn or anything.
All we've discussed so far is the engine temperature, but temperature at what RPMs, meaning how much load is on the engine. Small marine diesel engines are typically designed to run continuously between 60 to 80% of maximum RPMs. Max is 3600 on our Yanmar, so normally we cruise at between 2100 and 2800 RPM. These are the ranges in which we are evaluating our engine temperature. The current need is to make sure we have water flow. Long term, we need to make sure our temperature gauge is accurate and that the thermostat is working correctly.
Sorry, stepped on your toe. He's out.
Behind us, what you're looking at, what you can see of it is Carolina Beach, North Carolina. So we made it to a mooring field at the municipal marina here. Looks like a really beautiful place and a lot of things to do. I can see a Ferris wheel off in the distance. We left Grand Dunes Marina this morning. That was in Myrtle Beach.
Okay, I couldn't remember.
We left about 8:30. We had to wait this morning to get fuel because their fuel tank doesn't open until 9 o'clock, which is crazy.
They don't cater to fishermen for sure.
Yeah, if you were servicing a fishing community, that they would all go somewhere else for their fuel and bait. We left at 8:30. We made 56 miles today.
9:30.
No, 8:30. Oh, she's right. It was 9:30 when we left. We'd say from 9:30 to 7:30, that's 10 hours.
It
And
seemed like
56.
9.5.
I've always planned our routing average. If I motor, I always figured it was going to be a 5-knot motor, but we're doing a lot better than that. So today proves it. Today was not a great day as far as speed goes, but we still made, evidently we averaged 5.5 knots. We are one giant step closer to getting back to Washington to pull the boat out and start the boat projects. And
Again.
the other things we. Good news is we didn't break anything today, and we didn't have to stop for any mechanical repairs. Tomorrow will probably be horrible.
We just jinxed it.
Well, I wanted to check in and let you know that we made it quite a bit further down the road. We're happy, we're tired, but
Sweaty.
all in all, it was a good day. And I was telling Diane earlier that, in my opinion, the ICW that we've motored, North Carolina's been the prettiest. South Carolina's not bad. Well, actually, most of it was South Carolina that I've
Yeah,
seen.
most of all the cypress trees and everything
Yeah.
in the water, that was South Carolina. We haven't, through North Carolina so far, we've seen like a mini Boca Raton. It was lots of resorts with lots of jet skis and rental boats and it's just
Passage beer.
real expensive homes lining. If it's not a resort, it's an expensive home lining the ICW. So,
Really nice homes.
so we really haven't seen any like what you would say would be scenery.
Anyway, it's been pretty good today. And we're happy and we're hungry
Sorry.
and we're sweaty and stinky.
We're going to have chili dogs for supper because I feel like fixing a gourmet meal.
So we're going to have to leave you now because I'm hungry.
Yep. But we slept pretty good last night. Nice and cool. Very protected area that we were in. We chose a mooring ball because we didn't know anything about the area, but we didn't move even on the mooring ball. So I think we wouldn't have even had to have dropped an anchor. So,
Yeah, we didn't go anywhere.
yeah. So, anyway, just gonna keep going that way.
I've been acting like a wild man, sleeping like a child. You're so luminous and vibrant. I'm always in bloom for you. Always in bloom. Always in bloom.
Our first challenge this morning, really not much of a challenge, but about 10 miles up here is a drawbridge that only opens on the hour. So we tried to time it. Sure, we'll get there close to the hour so we don't have to do a lot of waiting. But I think that's the only drawbridge we have to worry about.
No, there's two.
Oh, there's two?
Then there's another one a little further up, but it opens on the hour and half hour. But
So it won't be a long wait no matter what.
yeah. So here we sit. We're waiting on this bridge right here. It opens only on the hour, so we've been trying to idle, spin around in circles. It's just hard to gauge how fast to go getting to these bridges when you've got tide and current. So I'm going to be helping Craig and check in with you later.
Always in bloom. Always in bloom for you. An infatuated light.
Well, looks like it's going to be a nice day. It's a nice morning anyway.
We're still using Bob 423 tracks. They've been really, really helpful through this.
We're going against the current.
Oh, what are we going? Like 4? Yeah. 4-7.
Although it hurts me to be with you, I'm
If you're a boater,
always
you already know this, but for those who maybe haven't done it or seen it before, like when we're going, I can see here that our speed is 4.6, and I know that's slow, so I know I'm going against the tide. If I want to check the tides for the location I'm at, I'm hitting nav info, go down to tides and currents, tides, and I want to see, this is where the station right now, but I'm not sure that's the right station. So to get the closest nearby station, I hit nearby stations. It searches. The closest station is Wilmington Beach. So I'm going to select it, and it updates this type table. So now what I know is that I know what the high tide is going to be a little less than 4 feet. We're currently at 8:30 a.m. and in an hour and 46 seconds, hour and 46 minutes, we'll be at high tide. Then I know the tide will change, and if I'm going against it now, it'll start helping me and it'll speed me up. So, not critical, but it is handy information to have at your fingertips. Man, it's a beautiful point.
Some of you might wonder, especially our children, when they see this, we haven't had our life jackets on through this. And the reason is, our rule has always been if the boat is moving, we're in our life jackets. And we have followed that rule till this last little stretch. We're in the ICW, so the water is really not deep and we're real close to shore. So, plus the heat is excruciating, and any extra weight on our backs and shoulders just is miserable. So, because of the wonderful heat wave we've had, thank you El Nino, we are not using our life jackets just because, yes, we're in shallow water, we're going slow, and
Shallow.
yeah,
Way too shallow.
yeah. The only place that we probably maybe should have put them on, in hindsight, when we were coming in through Cape Fear River. That was someplace with the ship coming through, the depth, the width, and everything, the big current. We probably should have put them on. We weren't in Cape Fear River very long, but that shouldn't have mattered. We should have grabbed them, put them on for that little stretch. Yep, Atlantic Ocean to our starboard. But the sun's beautiful, reflecting off the water. Yeah, straight out to the Atlantic, but I can guarantee you this, we couldn't cut across that. Too shallow. You can tell by looking at it. Okay, what was happening there was there was a fishing tournament, and it's time for all the fishermen to head back for weigh-in. So they were kind of blocking the channel a little bit. So it's slow going, but we made it through unscathed. So we're continuing on. Well, it's the end of another day. We motored up the ICW today through North Carolina. It was definitely different than South Carolina. Beautiful. The ICW was nice and blue, actually. Lots of power boats, jet skis zipping around. They were going someplace to have fun, which was great. And we did see a lot of fishing boats. We made it safely. We are anchored at Mile Hammock Bay. Now, the interesting thing about Mile Hammock Bay is we are in front of Camp Lejeune, which is a marine bay. So you're not allowed to go to shore, so that's fine. And some of the reviews have said that occasionally they'll be doing some kind of maneuvers or something along shore, and you'll see some Marines doing things. So far we haven't. Anyway, we're set tight on anchor, and we're gonna rest for a little while and probably take another shower. It was windy, but it was good wind because it kept us nice. Anyway, check you later. After a passage, this is what Bonnie does. Hope you could see her. She takes up the whole settee to take a nap. That's okay. She's a good sport.
Follow us on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Don't forget to subscribe, give us a thumbs up, and ring the little bell. Bottoms up! Thanks for watching.